I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listens Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listens Show. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can go to the link in our bio on Instagram. You can buy our merch. You can go to our website, www.manlistenshow.com. Listen to our old episodes. Make sure you share the shows. Make sure you let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listens Show. I'm your host, Mark B. Let's bring the crew in. All right. See you back in the building. We back to the Fantastic Four. See what up with you.
Hey, what's good?
All good. It's all good. Man, it's ain't been like this in a minute. I love it. But man, did y'all see what happened with the Boston Celtics? I know a lot of people, they're not Celtics fans, but there's no way you couldn't see what happened. This was dominating the news, which we'll talk about that, why it was dominating the news a little bit later as well. But the head coach, I believe you pronounce his name, Ime Udoka. He's the head coach of the Boston Celtics. Just took them to the NBA Finals, won the Eastern Conference Championship. They ran into Golden State, got popped, but everything seemed on the up and up, man. He's got a young team that, was poised to continue to do well. And word came out that he was about to be suspended due to some actions behind the scene. People were speculating, like, how long would he be suspended? Would it be a significant amount of games? It came out that he's being suspended for the whole next season. And the reason why was because of a consensual relationship that he had with more than one staffer. So a lot of people were shocked about this because I've never really seen anything like this happen in the past before. I mean, I've seen different coaches on different levels, have some improprieties or improper actions, and they've either been fired or obviously you just don't really hear about it, right? It's kind of just rumors behind the scene. But this was on front page news. Everybody was talking about it. And a lot of people had different opinions in terms of why were we being given access to this information? Why was the punishment being put out like it was? And why isn't more stuff going on in sports in terms of like Brett Favre and other things that a lot of us feel are more pressing? Why isn't that being talked about more? So we're going to talk about that, talk about the politics, about this Black coach and, the consequences of his actions and how the media has approached this topic and others. So Lav, y'all the two resident sports fans. What did y'all think? I mean, have you ever seen this happen with any coach or anything like this before?
Nah, man, I've never seen it get to this point. Kind of to what you were saying, it's either you don't hear about it or you're fired, right? So that was my whole thing was, I guess they have a code of conduct and there's probably strict or guidelines that say first offense, this happens, second offense, and suspension falls somewhere on there. But if it's that serious where I'm suspending you for the whole year, I'm cutting bait, or if I'm Ime Udoka, I'm gonna go ahead and resign then. It's going to be hard after a year to come back because I just think it's going to be hard for him to regain that, regain the same position that he had. I think ultimately he's going to be fired before he gets the opportunity to coach again. But yeah, it's definitely an anomaly, something I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think if I was him, I definitely would resign with grace if that's even possible,
right?
And then kind of let this news cycle go and burn out, and then maybe try to work myself back in through the coaching ranks, because obviously he's had some skills, right? He took a team to the NBA Finals, but I don't know that I would want to be at a place that type of shame in terms of being suspended for a year because of it's because of the reason why he was suspended. That's the whole point that I think, yeah, you probably need to just fall back a little bit. But see what you think.
So I don't know, because I keep hearing so many like mixed stories. Once like I hear the real reason and maybe like who it is, then I could like better make an opinion. If I guess only if it truly is like the VP's wife or something, I guess I can see the way they're doing it. If it was just, him just like sleeping with any other staff member up there, I just think like the way they're going about it, like something's not right. Either they really wanted him gone out of Boston, and this was just like the camel that just, or the straw that broke the camel's back, like, okay, good, now we can finally get him out of here. Because we've all heard a lot about just the city of Boston and just like the program, just the Celtics and that whole area, and having to deal with racism. They might not have wanted a black coach and just looking just to get him out of there, especially after he didn't win. So I don't know if that was the real reason why they suspended him, they want to quit, or if he really did sleep with somebody who's higher up's wife. And if that's the case, then I'm sure it's personal. And I'm sure somebody's bitter. And then, yeah, I mean, that's probably why. Because when you read from the organization, they're like, well, there really wasn't a rule that said we had to suspend him for a year. We just all got together and thought that's what we should do. So I was just like, who is it? So
yeah, I think so. There's been a ton of rumors,
right?
And the media played a big part in that. So when this first happened, they said he was sleeping with a staffer. And Rick, I'm gonna bring you in from a legal perspective in a second. He was sleeping with somebody on the staff. So then a lot of the internet media sites pulled out this sister, right? And said, well, this is the only woman on the staff, right? And it was this beautiful sister from Harvard. I forget her name.
Allison Feaster.
Allison Feaster. And not only, and she's married, right, with kids. And, she's a bad sister too. But they were putting that out there. And then finally, the Celtics had to come out and say, no, it is not her, right? Because you can imagine the damage that was doing to her children, because her children, they're old enough to look on the internet. I saw pictures of her. Of them. Don't ask me why I was looking for pictures of this woman, but she's got children. She's got children of age, and then she's got a husband as well. So that's this problematic. Matt Barnes came out in defense of MA, and then he walked it back because apparently there's a lot of people who are privy to what actually happened. They haven't put it out there, but they walked it back and they say, you know what, it's probably way worse than what y'all think it is. And I believe I read that it's not just one person, it was two. And he had been warned before. And he still proceeded to have communication with whoever he was, in a relationship with. They made a point to say it was consensual, right? But I don't know, in the land of me, in the time of Me Too and everything else, this seems like real iffy. And
I say
it makes me think that they're trying to put their ducks in a row because it's going to be some sort of potential litigation, probably from him or from somebody else suing the Celtics because as the head coach, he is a representative of the organization. Rika, what you think?
I think too, it kind of centers on who the person is as far as in relation to him, because if he's any type of supervisor, has any type of control over their job or any type of position of power over them, that's also going to create a problem for the dynamic. So now if they have two completely unrelated jobs, that's when I'm like, if he's sleeping with somebody's wife, they're not a staffer. So I don't know how that correlates into ethical issues for the company.
Unless but if for the company too.
Yeah, the wife supposedly worked for him.
Allegedly worked for the company too. Yeah.
Okay.
But then they said it's two though. So that's what I'm saying. Like, who's the other person then? Who do they work for?
Yeah.
Like everybody hook their wives up and give them jobs in the program?
Right. That seems excessive. Yeah. But it could just be more of a pattern of behavior type thing, because if he's consistently having relationships, consensual or not, with someone's wife, and that's creating issues in the back office, that's going to be an issue for the whole team. And then so ethically, I mean, even if they don't specifically say in their contract that you can't have consensual relationships with people, they do probably have some type of code of ethics in order to prevent future Me Too issues. And so I'm sure they can align his behavior with some type of ethical violation, because they have been putting in that general clause of you have to uphold the ethical standards of the team in a lot of people's contracts for the past couple of years. It's kind of like a catch-all.
Yes.
So I think that's how they got Kareem Hunt off of the Chiefs, because he wasn't upholding even though he wasn't really found guilty or whatever, he still had to get off the team because, you know, he was involved in questionable behavior. So I think that ethical thing is a catch-all that they just use.
Picking people.
Yeah. Well,
Right. You know what else though too?
I was on Kareem's side with that one, but go
Hey,
ahead.
yeah,
me too.
But also though, I think that at this point, and like you talk about Me Too and stuff, that's why we've never seen this happen before too. Because if this happened, if this happened 5 years ago, the exact same situation, we probably never would have even heard of it. You know, and
I agree.
We keep saying consensual, and that's, I've said this before, you know, a guy can have one understanding and a woman can have a totally different understanding of consent. And he might be of the understanding that because it was consensual yesterday or 2 weeks ago, that you still want me to have these advances towards you. And they were saying that essentially she was like, hey, we need to step back, because I'm assuming maybe she got warned too, and he still kept pursuing it. And so
Or
then
she just got caught and played the victim like they always do.
Possibly. But again, she essentially went to the HR about it. And once HR gets it, there's really nothing you can do.
Oh yeah.
But you know there's a lot of stuff with how this was handled that was disappointing. But I think what was most disappointing to me was the lack of understanding that a lot of brothers had when it came to consent and how this type of relationship could play out and work. If you have any sense, you understand that, yeah, it may be consensual, but if you're the head coach of an organization, there's probably not too many people that are above you. You may have like the GM, the president of basketball operations, the owner, right? But there's a lot of people who fall under your purview as the head coach, a lot of staff members and everything else. The power dynamic, which Arika alluded to, that's the piece that you can't overlook, because even though they may say yes, the power dynamic is always there, and you can always say, well, I felt like I had to say yes because he's in control of my job. So while I didn't put up a fight, where I wasn't violent or wasn't anything like that, I felt like I couldn't say no because of the power dynamic. And the reason why I want to highlight that is because more brothers need to be aware of that, because honestly, all of us know you shouldn't get your meat where you eat, you shouldn't get your honey where you make your money. But all of us have fell short. And if you say you haven't fell short, you a lie. You know, you a lie. And I think we, especially us black men, because he said at one point it was good, and then it became where it wasn't good, right? And you need to be able to protect yourself, especially in today's environment of potential pitfalls and traps. Obviously, if she says no, I don't want to do this no more, that's it. It's done, right? But that power dynamic piece, I was really kind of disappointed, and a lot of brothers not understanding, because they kept saying, well, if it's consensual, why are we even talking about this? It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that, and we got to be aware of the game that's played.
I was wondering too, though, why his name and everything was all out in the media, but hers wasn't. But if she went to HR, then that places her kind of in the position of a victim, and that changes things. So I thought that their relationship got exposed and they just got caught. I didn't know this was like she was like, hey, get this too. That completely changes things. And that's definitely one of the things that if she felt like she had to take it to that point, then like you said, once HR steps in, that's over with.
Yeah.
And so now, you know what I mean? If they don't do anything,
I don't know if they've she may have been suspended, or maybe because, like you said, Lab, because he came back another time, maybe she just got a verbal warning or a written warning. Yeah. He was hard-headed and he put himself in in a worse position, you know, and he
He's
had
black.
The team said nobody
part.
else. The team said nobody else faced discipline.
Hey,
Well, that tells us all we need to know about her.
yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah, yeah. You know, and it's I think not only is that a problem in terms of like our understanding of consent and why, and I really do think that there's going to be more that's going to come out about this, that it's going to be like, oh, okay. I think they're being too vague.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, well, why are y'all announcing this? Either he needs to be fired or we don't need to know about this, right?
I think
they're being vague for a reason, because they don't want to expose themselves, and they're probably, like I said before, they're trying to get their ducks in a row. But I think the way the media handled this, first of all, it's sensational, right? It's
definitely
it's sensationalism. Hell, we talking about it, right? Because people were talking about it on our show. But the lack of responsibility, like out in the women, Allison Feaster, I think her name is Allison Feaster Strong. She's married. Putting her out there, right? And then, I mean, I had fun with it. I was talking about it too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not right. That's not right. A reputable, quote unquote, reputable news organization. But hell, with social media and everything else, what's reputable, right? And then just the comments that were being made by some people. The young woman Malika Andrews on ESPN, a lot of people were giving her a lot of flack because she came at Stephen A. Smith telling him, stop, man, you need to, you know, she was really, I don't know what she's privy to behind the scenes, but her approach to two brothers, Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith, people were kind of like, yeah, you being a little bit funny style. If you do some research and you look who she's dating, then you kind of understand why she be going hard at black men. I'll
engaged too. They're engaged. But yeah,
you look at who she's engaged to. He worked for ESPN too.
Right.
Yeah. But just put it like this, he wouldn't be on the Man Listen show. So y'all can
I guess they don't have any rules at ESPN.
Right. Yeah, y'all can fill in the blanks on that.
Nice.
But the way the media handled this, man, was kind of funny style. Don't y'all? I mean, what did y'all think?
It was almost like it got leaked and Boston wasn't prepared for it.
Right. It did get leaked, and that's the whole part of it, where the organization, well, if I'm Udoka, I probably don't want to work for him anymore anyways. They were the ones that leaked it, right? So they're the ones being messy. You know, they're the ones putting this out there to control the spin, control the narrative. They knew. People say you never know what's going to happen, but you know, in the Twitter world, with the social media, if you see some kind of sex accusation, that's hot fire. That's going to take off like wildfire. So, you know, they should have announced a suspension. Not saying we're contemplating, we're thinking about suspending him. Announce the suspension. Say what we're having an investigation or whatever. We'll say more when the time's appropriate. You don't even have to put that other stuff out there.
Yeah.
He's at that flavor to your function. DD's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Flavor to your function. DD's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink. Wanna kick back, wanna just vibe. Wanna kick back. Let me first slide to the drink store. Let me just buy DD drink mixes, all of them fire. Fill me up a case, I'm finna drop bread. Marvelous mango, classic and red. Took them to the party, these folks won't leave me alone. They wanting me to share, they better get their own. DD's adding that flavor to your function. DD's daiquiri. Good vibe, one at a time. Good vibe, one at a time.
But you know, do you think, so here's the next question I have for y'all, and you know, chime in how you want to chime in. A lot of people are asking, why are we talking about this? And they were pointing out primarily ESPN. I don't watch ESPN. I watch ESPN because they have contracts with the NBA, or if there's a baseball game or something that I want to watch. I don't fool with ESPN. I don't fool with ESPN because of how they did what's the old girl that left? The girl-
Jamel.
Jamel
Hill
Hill.
Yeah,
and
I-
Michael. I said Michael Scott. Yeah,
Michael. What was his name?
Michael Smith.
Michael Smith. I stopped fooling with ESPN and how they did Jamel Hill. And then I felt bad about that because she ended up leaving and going on her own, and she started throwing black men under the bus. And I'm like, ain't that a blip? But I stopped fooling with them on that. I always thought ESPN was kind of funny style because Saturday morning they always show like these hard look stories about the black kid that got saved by the white person and all of this. It was
Always.
And
Oh,
Dominic Sue wasn't the only one.
yeah,
Basketball
Bob Lee and his stories. Every time college football was like this kid right here, his mom was on crack, and but he had a friend whose parents, his mom came to the car and said, "Can we give Jamal a ride home?" And then I saw that his mom was on crack and how he was living. Every week, it was that sort of narrative that they were trying to push. And I was just like, nah, I can't do this anymore. But I knew ESPN was funny style, but a lot of people been calling them out because, like you said, Lab, this was hot fodder. This was all points bullets and talking about this, but we're not talking about Brett Favre and how he stole the food stamp money, how he stole the SNAP funds so that he could pay for his daughter's team's volleyball court, and how he pocketed a lot of money because he's supposed to be doing quote unquote speaking engagements. And he just got the money. There wasn't a lot of talking. There wasn't a lot of talking about that. But
What?
We had. You didn't hear, but you didn't see.
No.
This is live. Arika didn't even know about that.
yeah.
That's crazy. Brett Favre out here stealing from the kids, man. I'm telling you, hey man, Wisconsin is wild.
No,
he's
he's
not
from
Wisconsin.
Mississippi.
This is
He's
Mississippi.
from Mississippi. This is Mississippi.
Where he's from. He's from
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Oh, he went back there. They got enough problems.
Man.
The
Yeah.
poorest state in the union, and you're stealing the food stamp money. You got the capital of that state doesn't have clean drinking water.
Water. Yeah.
Somebody was saying it is so many millionaires there for that state to be that poor and that uneducated. And now we know why.
But that's on purpose though.
Yeah, clearly.
Right.
If
And
they out there
they-
monopolizing
and they probably ain't new millionaires. They probably got that
Yeah.
old money from a
that
certain
plantation money.
Exactly.
Plantation.
Right.
exactly.
That's that plantation money. But no, Brett Favre, this has been out for smoke. The smoke had been out there for about
It was actually before.
maybe like a few months ago.
Yeah.
But now it's like kind of really revving up. It was millions of dollars, Arika.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Five mil.
Like, was it 5?
Yeah.
I thought it was way more than that.
So
No, it's $5 mil.
ESPN definitely
have to
didn't
look at
cover
that.
it the way that they should and need. But honestly, like in this world that we live in, like having affairs on your wife, especially when you're married to an actress, really just toxic. Toxic sells. That's just look at all these ghetto Real Housewives, Loves and Hip Hop, like all that controversy and stuff that's toxic. Like that's just really what sells. And so that
Whoa.
what
Don't be talking about my
you
DVR. You know,
watch that?
I'm just
No,
saying.
you
Don't
do not.
be talking about my DVR.
I
That
didn't know you
stuff
watched
is
that.
so toxic, low
That's
vibration.
horrible.
Like we gotta stop watching stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
we
what-
gotta
what
stop
tri-
promoting it so they stop.
well,
putting it
that's
out
what
there.
tripped me out is that. So I
You know who
haven't
watches
seen
it? You know who watches it though?
who.
White people,
No.
Well, both.
Black people.
everybody.
Both though. Both. That's what I'm saying. They're like black people are quick to talk about we're gonna protest this movie because of this movie because of that, this TV show.
Oh,
That.
like
But y'all
the Woman
good with
King.
everything that's destroying the community though. Y'all
Except
recording
that.
and laughing, following them on social media.
Right.
Hey, that Republican. See, that's what we've been
No.
missing. We've been missing that Republican
Yeah.
inside there.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
I know.
Mute,
I
bro.
know.
Let me go back on mute.
That Republican came out.
But so that's the only reason why I think I know about the story is because of Nia. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that I know
Well-
loves Nia Long. But it's like, what? You should know
Well,
Nia?
hold on.
Hey,
We gonna
So-
get back to that though. We'll get back
yeah,
to that.
exactly.
That's the
exactly.
only
But-
reason why I know.
But
I don't know
I
nothing
still
about
I still feel
ESPN.
like it obviously the media see, to your point, you're right. They need to call it out though, but we heard about Mike Vick nonstop. There's nonstop coverage of Mike Vick. I mean, they covered Mike Vick from the courthouse. They covered Mike Vick until they walked him into the gates at the Leavenworth Penitentiary. You know,
Well, you know, to them, they care more about the dogs than their own kids. Like I know y'all got like the neighborhood next door
Yeah.
apps in y'all's neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
There could be a kid
Sure,
at the
not.
playground and they are talking bad about the parents who they've never seen. Can't believe the kids out here past 7. It's dark. He didn't have no shoes on. Let somebody say there's a puppy. And boy, there'd be 80 comments on there. Do you need me to bring you food? You want me to meet you at Petco? I can go half on the immunization bill. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But the little kid, y'all talking about him for not having no food, no shoes on. He
Right
just
about
snuck
that.
out the house.
I'm gonna say this though, and I'll be honest with you. Mike Vick was an active NFL player, and it affected directly the sport that week that was covering. Ime Udoka, the NBA season is starting. He's an active coach. Brett Favre is retired for several years. There's so many ex-athletes that get into trouble that are not covered on ESPN. So many. That's not ESPN's job to cover that. That should have been.
He's Brett Favre.
I gotta give
No.
I gotta give you
He's not an
pushback on that.
ex-athlete.
No, hold on.
Brett
I gotta give you pushback on that.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me finish. That's a news. That's MSNBC. That's ABC. That's whatever.
No.
As an dog, you know how many ex-athletes are in jail who shot people who did, and they don't cover that.
That's not true, lad. You know why? Because
I found out somebody
NFL
was in jail the other day. I was like,
Hold
I
on,
didn't
bro.
even know.
Okay, but those NFL players that were fleecing the retirement fund, we definitely heard about them. That got coverage. And once they went after all the NFL players, they started going after the NBA players. One of the dudes that we went to school with, that we cool with, they just put him on. Then he was on the news. So there is some disparity in what they choose to report and how they report it. For sure, I hear what you're saying, and you're not. And I'm not saying that you're 100% wrong. I'm not, because I get what you're saying in terms of active players, active coach. I agree with you on that. But ESPN is 24/7 news coverage. What are they? How many channels they got?
Sports news coverage.
Ocho.
But they covered
Sports
it
as
though.
an athlete.
Brett Favre is a sports celebrity.
Nah, but that's not sports news. The stuff that you
He's a
cited,
legend.
the stuff you cited
Well, yeah.
directly has to do with current players. Fleecing
No.
NBA,
And-
yes, the old school players who was fleecing the NFL PA, NBA PA, that has to do with cats that's playing today, active games today.
Those dudes were all retired. They were getting popped.
But they're fleecing the NBA Players Association. So every
they're
player that
taking money
plays
from
is
the new
in there.
players.
That they're taking money from active players. And if we're honest, sorry to say this, I ain't gonna say it's just red state, but most red states have made a habit of taking money from poor people. So this is nothing outside the norm except for that it's Brett Favre. So
Well,
that's
and they covered it too. The difference between the two things is one was covered mainly only on sports stuff, and the other stuff is covered on TMZ and whatever other, gossip channels and everything else they have out there. I think that was it. Social media really ate up this situation with the Celtics, blasting that girl's picture everywhere and wasn't even the right person.
Yeah, that was foul.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah, that was foul. I mean,
yeah.
And I hope that there wasn't, and I even shared a picture too, because when I saw it and people were saying it.
Yeah, you probably shared it for a whole nother reason.
I did too. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I said she's a beautiful Black woman. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's what people were like. When people were like, "How do you cheat on Nia Long? How do you cheat on Nia Long?"
She is.
Hey,
Nia Long been fine for forever.
It's been fine.
I
thought about on Love Jones where he did like he has to do fumble trying to holler at Nia Long. He's like,
yeah.
Ime
Udoka fumbled her.
He was like, fumble. He's like, I told y'all.
Well, they got a baby together, right? They have a baby together, and they've been engaged for 7 years.
For a long time. That's an issue in and of itself.
But that kind of makes me feel like somebody didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it being a viable relationship. And I tend to believe it was probably Nia that didn't believe that.
Yeah.
Viability.
She didn't want to give that dude access to her money till he got that head
it looks
shot.
better. It looks better for her as a Hollywood celebrity, whatever, to say like I'm engaged.
Right.
Instead of being like I'm just dude's, child's mother or what have you. But people were just shocked that, like how do how do you cheat on Nia Long? But I'm thinking like, man, people get cheated on every day, B.
Every day.
Every day, B.
Hey, B.
Every
People
day.
get cheated on every day, B. It don't matter how fine you are.
Right.
And what did I tell y'all a couple shows back? I don't think if Steve was on that show. I said a fat girl will take your man. An ugly girl will take your man. You know what I'm saying? You could get got by anybody. And if this don't prove that, and I'm not, because I don't know that people.
We don't even know what this shit
people
is
share the
like.
picture.
Yeah, we don't.
People share the picture of who they think is the person he had a relationship, and it was some, dusty,
Yeah.
But what we do know is that whatever person that allegedly he cheated with is not on par with Nia Long. Definitely not in terms of looks. Definitely not in terms of accomplishments. We don't know how Nia is behind the scenes. Nia may be all glitz and glamour on the outside, but at home she may be hell, right?
Right.
Like Halle Berry and J-Lo. So they say.
Right.
I think we probably could safely assume that,
Don't do that.
Halle at home.
Don't do Holly like that.
We-
Don't do Holly like that.
Nah, it's pretty. Listen,
Some dudes just bring it out of you.
Let me
You
tell
want the
you.
fire, you
Every
gotta work
dude,
for
though.
it.
let me tell you
Dude,
something. I
Yes.
can rock with you on one. I can rock with you on two, maybe three. But after that, there's one common denominator.
One common denominator, dog.
Wait, so you're saying that everybody here only has the maximum of 3 exes?
That would bring that crazy out of
They
you.
all say the same thing.
That's their story.
And it matches.
Well, you remember
Like
they try to
George-
put it on Wesley Snipes.
Nice.
They try to put it on Wesley Snipes, but it really-
David Justice.
yeah, it's Dave Justice.
David
Yeah.
Justice was physically abusive.
But that's the point I was saying. They tried to put it on Wesley Snipes. He was the dark skinned brother, but they was like,
Yeah.
nah, it was really Dave Justice, the light bright that was doing all this mess to it.
Listen, how
Fool me
about
once.
we just don't
Can't
know
get
these
fooled
people in
again.
real life, and we don't know their relationship or their situation. So let's not blanket judge people as crazy or whatever.
Okay. But okay, so this brings up another point that we've had. We might have discussed it on the show, I can't recall, but it's all about proximity to who you end up in relationship type stuff with. And certain people will be like, man, how he end up with her? It's all about proximity, and so that's another case of proximity. Neil, he's on the road, she probably traveling with the team, and so you just get comfortable, and hey, it leads to one thing leads to another.
Right, they say that a lot. People fall in love on movie sets when they film the movie together, and then the relationship don't last when they're not on the movie together. It's like it's
Yeah.
easy to be cool when you with
That
each other
happens a
all day
lot.
every day, but they live a totally different type of life than the rest of us. And so
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, it may not be that she's crazy. It may be that he only sees her 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, and I
ain't
definitely don't
enough.
think Nia. Yeah.
I don't, but hold
Contrary to
on.
popular belief.
Let me put this out there though. I'm not casting aspersion on Nia Long's character. I'm not. All I'm saying is, on the outside, Nia checks every box, looks, accomplishments, everything. She checks it. Now at home, she may not. And I'm gonna tell y'all something y'all may not want to hear, but the P is undefeated. The P is
The power.
undefeated. And you know the only thing better than P? The only thing better than P? New P. So
Lies.
I'm
Lies.
telling you, the only thing better than P is new P.
And I'm telling you, ain't no P better than
See, I don't listen.
I have character witnesses, but I digress. Go back to your point.
There's some things that I don't want to know about you, sis.
Man,
That's one of them.
TMI.
Yeah,
TMI.
that's one of them. But I'm just saying, we just said it forever. How many cats have they downfall as being a woman?
That's
How many women's downfalls been a man?
hold on.
Not as
Hey,
many as men. Not as many.
No,
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
It can't be. It can't be as
Motherfuckers
many
that lost their job. They done started wars.
wars, dog.
All over a
Who's
woman.
fighting in the war?
All over a woman. I'm trying to
Who's
tell you.
fighting in the war though? That's their problem.
It's
First
hey,
of all, y'all really did y'all really take it back to war?
To
To
Troy.
war?
okay, for
To
real.
Troy.
I
You
know.
can't-
Helen
yeah.
of Troy.
Like the
You
spider
First
in
of
Helen
all,
of Troy. Come
There
on
are
now.
just as many people. You know the teenage chatter I
Who's the
heard
catcher?
while driving all these teenagers around today is that she buying him 2K and shoes, and he posting on TikTok that he's single. It's as many chicks out here down bad as it is dudes. Y'all be acting like y'all got the franchise on
Now,
y'all's.
I was
feelings
gonna
being
say
hurt.
but see, historically, the reason it might be more even, right, than we want to believe. But historically, the reason it seems so skewed is because just until recently, women haven't been in a position of what you would call power to be like, she lost it all. You know what I mean?
So I can agree with your point in saying, yes, there have been a lot of women who've been done bad by dudes. Hell, we just talked about one. We talked about Halle Berry, right? But when I was talking about in terms of people who are jeopardizing their whole livelihood, everything that they have, right? It's more dudes out here doing silly stuff than there is women.
But
Listen, just because
that
you
leads to a
silly
different
don't make you right.
Right.
But
yeah, we could do a whole nother show
history,
on that.
right? History
'Cause-
is written by the majority. So if we're
Right.
gonna judge history and the cause of wars by the pouty white man, then we all in trouble because we
No,
know
no,
damn well that that's
but
not
also-
how it really
Let
happened.
me ask you
Not
this.
to say
Let me ask you this.
hold on.
Most
Also
most
this-
fights, most fights that you see, most fights that you saw growing up, dudes was fighting. What was the main thing they was fighting over?
I see more
Something that-
women fighting over men.
Right.
Yes,
Hands down.
facts.
But
You
tomorrow's
said fighting over
tomorrow's-
men.
Yes.
Yeah, women fight over the men, hands down.
Okay,
all the time.
Listen, I was
okay,
at a
believe
car
that.
wash. It was full on us versus the city of Columbia. And I was like, why are we here? And she was like, you probably gonna beat my ass, but it's whatever. I was like, I'm not even messing with this dude. She's like, I'm not messing with him either. I was like, he probably with his chick right now while we up here about to brawl at this car wash. I'm going home.
Yep, that's how it
I'm
goes.
about to go home
The
because I
women
am gonna
can
beat your
never
ass,
be mad at
but
the
it's not gonna be
husband.
worth it because
Hey,
he ain't here.
since we all from the Midwest and from the Missouri area, that 100-man brawl that we all know about, that some people allegedly were involved in, that was over a damn woman. I'm trying to tell you,
It was, but it was ego.
guys make
Ego.
silly
Right,
decisions
ego.
over women.
Thank you.
The power.
Why do you think everybody says? Why do you think when people say this phrase and they say the P is undefeated, they'll never say the D is undefeated.
Right.
The P is undefeated.
It depends on the authors that you're listening to.
What's see
Oh,
this,
right.
Because
the
at the
thing,
end of the
though.
day, the P ain't never moved me.
I mean,
obviously,
okay,
right?
yeah, all right, I got you. I got you.
All of the dumb things that I've done and all of the things that I've been involved in have all been over some dude. And trust me, it's been some dumb things. So
Hey, you got to blame Eve for that.
Yeah, you
No,
know what I'm saying?
I gotta blame who?
Or Delilah,
what?
one of y'all young
blame Eve for
harlots.
that.
Yeah.
Blame,
So
blame
now
Eve.
it's Jesus' fault.
Nah.
We're
I'm
gonna take it
I'm
back
saying
to
like
God in the
this.
Bible now.
Now I'm saying like this. The reason he's saying men lose it all is because in this country, and I don't know other countries, legally, when it comes to court, the man usually gets the short end of the stick when it comes to divorce and separation, that kind of thing.
Boo, also wrong. So
we can look at the topic that spurred this discussion. Emi Udoka and one or two other women. Who's the only one that's been called out?
yes, because he's in a
it's-
position of
it's
power and the Me
essential-
Too movement has gained momentum. So as long as he's in the position of power, then he's the aggressor and they're the victims. So we have a culture of not outing victims.
Hold on.
Listen,
There's
we
Let's
don't
not-
have
let's
all the
not do-
facts.
That's that white girl talk. That's that white girl one-on-one.
No.
Let's not say that
No.
aggressive aggressor and victim stuff because we don't know yet. Hold
No,
on.
what I
There's
said was
multiple
the
people.
only reason why they would have a cause to only discipline him
But
and to
I'm
only
saying though,
out
sis,
him.
we can't interject those terms in because that's dangerous.
No, completely fair in this situation. But what I'm saying is traditionally, if we're speaking generally, you're speaking just on him, but generally, if we're disclosing the man and keeping the woman's identity secret, there's a reason for it. And that reason is
We'll see.
that they're concerned about the legal implications of his behavior. And they're not concerned about the legal implications of her behavior, rightly or wrongly. I'm saying that is the title that they are giving this situation, and that is why they're behaving the way they're behaving. Because if in their investigation they thought that both parties were equally culpable, they would have exposed both parties, because there would have been no cause to protect anybody's name or identity. But in situations of like sexual misconduct and stuff, the alleged victim, their information is always kept private unless they out themselves. So that's the only reason for keeping her information private.
I agree. And somebody put in the chat pilgrim privacy, but
which is not wrong. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that they're behaving this way because that's the narrative. Whether they've exposed that as the narrative, that is the narrative at this point.
But like I said earlier, I do believe that there is something more nefarious that's probably bubbling underneath, and that's why they haven't exposed the other one or two parties. I know it's at least one, I think maybe two other people. But if it comes out that it was only a consensual relationship, it was like, hey y'all, we don't do fraternization in this organization. That's not how we do. We're a family unit. We don't get down like that. And it comes out that he didn't do anything improper, then we do need to call that out. And I don't disagree with anything that you said. I only object to interjecting terms like aggressor and a victim when we don't know yet, right? Because then that's when they start doing that stuff, because those type of labels carry weight. Because you remember when y'all's girl Hillary Clinton, when she was calling us super predators,
and
stuff like that. Those type of things stick, and it has grave implications.
So this is the thing, though. This is something apparently that had been known for months, and they had an independent law firm come in and can do a complete investigation. So they know, and there are people such as like a Matt Barnes or other people who literally know what's in the document, the report.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it is telling when somebody like him walked back what he said.
Mm-hmm. That's very telling to me. Because Matt Barnes, I made a joke about the Becky with the good hair, Kwame Brown, whatever. One thing about Matt Barnes is he don't really care about what people think about him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I follow him and him as a player. He seems like a dude who's just like, hey, look, I am who I am, and I'm straight up, and F what y'all think about me. So for him to say, hey, listen, I'm gonna walk back everything I said yesterday in defense of Ime Udoka, to me, it was telling, because number one, that's really not in his normal character.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
And then, but number two, if I'm Ime Udoka, I'm just like, dude, I'd rather you just not say anything.
Yeah.
Because that taints the court of public.
That's what I was thinking too.
Because most people are like, well, damn, if Matt Barnes say it's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
This the same Matt Barnes that drove 100 miles to fight.
Fight Derek Fisher.
And then drove back home.
Yeah, then drove back home. He said, he's saying this is too much.
He said it's too much. Right.
He said it's too much.
Yeah. But
that's what I'm saying. Somebody knows.
No, a lot of people know. I mean, a lot of people in the NBA circles know, and I think that's why it after the initial hubbub, it's kind of honestly it's died down a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
because I don't think
the news cycle is 24 hours. 24 hours is hot, but you got to really do something bad to make it past 24 hours.
Right? You got to steal money from welfare.
Yeah. But on that note, I think we talked about it enough. Shout out to the Boston Celtics. I used to hate the Celtics growing up, man, because
everybody hated the Celtics.
Full-time Lakers fan, but then my favorite player, KG, went to the Celtics, and I kind of had a soft spot for them. And then they got the kid from St. Louis, Jason Tatum, St. Louis Kobe. Shout out to my boy Troy for giving him that name, St. Louis Kobe. So those players, man, I like a lot of those players. A lot of people say they'll never root for Boston because of the city of Boston. You know, C kind of alluded to it earlier. My homeboy gave it the best title ever. Boston is the white man's Atlanta. And it is the white man's Atlanta. I mean, you ain't seen racism till you see Boston is like that. Boston is like that.
Okay.
For sure.
And, hey, Atlanta's about to be the white man's Atlanta.
Man,
Right.
real quick though, real quick. Number one, gentrification. You right, but hey, y'all seen Atlanta? They are going crazy in Atlanta right now. The crime spree in Atlanta. Atlanta is off the chain. Breaking
Might have been off the chain.
Yeah, it just stepped up a couple notches here lately though. I don't know.
But in other news, St. Louis is no longer number one on the murder capital. Moving in the right direction. What we number 2 now?
Hey, baby steps. You got to take them.
Yeah.
You gotta take it. You gotta take it.
Gotta
An
take what you can
accomplishment.
get. That's all I'm like,
Celebrating small
Atlanta.
successes.
Yeah. But
They
anyway,
chilling down there.
like I said, you know, we talked about enough. Make sure y'all go to our website, www.manlistenshow.com. Check out our old episodes. Go to our YouTube. Tell your friends to subscribe to the show. Let's get some more subscribers. Share the show. Let us know what you think. You know, was Ime Udoka, was he treated unfairly? Did we miss anything? If we missed something, shout us out in the comments. Let us know. Hey man, y'all probably should have talked about this or whatever. You know, we got some followers that watch the show on a regular basis. We love y'all. Go to our Instagram, get some of the merch, and I think that's about it. We holler at you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Well, that Republican came out and said, she said,
I'm gonna say this is the first
Oh,
time we had to
oh,
say,
oh,
hey,
yeah.
Steve.
you black folks say your value. Yeah, we had to shout C out.
Cut the
We had to shout it
recording.
out, but
Cut the